types of monsters after the Chernobyl nuclear power plant explosion. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that blends history, science, and a little bit of the spooky side of nature. We're talking about the infamous Chernobyl disaster and all the weird and wild monsters that some say emerged after the explosion back in 1986. What happens to animals and plants when they're exposed to radiation? Are mutations lurking around every corner in the Chernobyl exclusion zone? Let's explore this together. So let's set the scene. On April 26, 1986, Chernobyl, a nuclear power plant in Ukraine, suffered a catastrophic explosion. It wasn't just an ordinary accident. This disaster released a huge amount of radioactive particles into the environment. In the aftermath, entire towns were evacuated and a large exclusion zone was established around Chernobyl. But while people fled, what about the wildlife? Over the years, as nature reclaimed the land, a host of unusual stories about mutated creatures began to emerge. Radiation, like that from nuclear accidents, can mess with the DNA of living beings. It causes mutations that can make organisms look and function differently. Imagine a plant that grows twice as large, or an animal with unexpected features. While we see this in various historical contexts, Chernobyl is unique because of the long-term effects on the area's flora and fauna, creating a spooky playground for speculation. Now, let's get into the juicy part, the types of monsters you might find in Chernobyl. First up, we've got the mutated animals. Imagine wolves roaming around, but a bit larger and possibly more aggressive than their unmutated cousins. There have even been reports of oversized animals like bears lurking in the shadows. What's particularly interesting is how these creatures have adapted to survive in such a toxic environment. They might have a tougher skin or a different diet compared to their pre-explosion relatives. It's nature's way of showing adaptability, but in a rather eerie fashion. Next, let's talk about the plants. You might be picturing giant sunflowers or trees that seem to be defying nature itself. And you wouldn't be wrong. Inside the exclusion zone, some plants have been observed growing unusually large and thriving in areas that should be lifeless. These mutations can lead to dramatic increases in growth rates, making the landscape seem almost otherworldly. It raises the question, are these plants evolving due to the radiation or simply thriving in a human-free environment? But wait, we can't forget about the folklore. In the shadows of this disaster, enigmatic legends sprung up like mushrooms after rain. Have you heard of the blackbird or the red forest? These creatures are part of local folklore, embodying the fears and mysteries surrounding the disaster. They serve as cautionary tales that connect cultural responses to the horrors of radiation exposure, turning real horror into mythical stories. And let's not overlook the ghosts. Yes, there are many reports of ghostly sightings in and around Chernobyl. Visitors have shared their experiences of hearing unexplained sounds or feeling an eerie presence. Perhaps it's the lingering spirit of the people who once lived there, or the animals that roamed freely before the blast. Whether you believe in ghosts or just chalk it up to the unsettling atmosphere, these stories definitely add an extra layer of intrigue. So, what about the science behind all this? Researchers have flocked to Chernobyl to study the effects of radiation on wildlife and ecosystems. Some studies have shown mutated species thriving in ways we would have never expected. This research is crucial as it helps us understand adaptation in extreme conditions and even how life can persist in environments we consider inhospitable. Now, the cultural impact of Chernobyl and its monsters is fascinating as well. Chernobyl has inspired countless films, documentaries, and video games. It's incredible how a real-life event can meld with fiction, creating gripping narratives. These stories shape our perceptions of radiation and environmental disasters, sometimes leading us to see them as more fearsome than they might be. The line between reality and fiction can be hazy, making it all the more enticing. In conclusion, the story of Chernobyl isn't just about a nuclear disaster. It's about how nature adapts, how cultures react to tragedy, and the enduring myths that haunt our imaginations. Whether we're talking about mutated animals, strange plants, or ghostly encounters, Chernobyl is a place filled with stories waiting to be told. So, dive deeper into the lore, keep questioning, and as always, Stay curious, my friends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts on Chernobyl monsters in the comments below. See you next time.